and we have had to haze them. And there's many different methods on how to haze them. We do not want you to haze them, or visitors. Keep your distance is what we're asking you to do, because there's training involved in how to haze a wolf. But report it. And we have removed 2 wolves because we feel they were food conditioned and they were not showing their natural fear of people, and we wanted to proactively prevent a human safety situation. I think that's very important. And we received almost no opposition from removing these wolves because we have a step-by-step plan that gradually escalates our response to the behavior of the wolf. But in the end, these wolves probably got killed because of people. And what was the fatal flaw? They got fed. One guy was taking pictures of the wolf, and he was moving his hand around, taking pictures, and the wolf kept his eye on his hand the whole time. That's indicative of the wolf knows something's going to come out of that guy's hand. So he's been fed. And so that is ultimately a human-caused mortality. Some people within YCR want us to advance the idea, you feed them, we kill them. So a very important point. And I often ponder this slide because really it's all of our collective jobs. Remember, our mission is preservation. This slide does not look like to me we're preserving wolves very well when they're being driven down the road by advancing traffic. So this is a big management activity that we're all involved with. So this brings us to the kind of wolves we have in the park, and we have very few of these, but most wolves are probably used to people, but would probably don't want to have to deal with us. And so we call those tolerant wolves, not habituated. A habituated wolf is a wolf that's right there on you. A tolerant wolf is a wolf that knows what people are about, but would rather not have much to do with you. And that's most wolves in the park. Hold that thought, because that's an important issue for hunting outside the park. We've had to deal hunting now for the first time occurs on all sides of Yellowstone. Prior to this, it only occurred in Idaho and Montana. Last fall, it occurred on our eastern and southern boundary, and so that means it completely rings the park. And that's fine. That's the state's business, and that's their mission. Unlike ours, preservation, their mission is conservation. Preservation is no use, conservation is wise use. And that's built upon the North American model of wildlife management, which is a cornerstone is public hunting. And so that's all okay. But there's a line there called the park boundary, and how wolves deal and respond to that is an important issue. So wolf hunting is very much part of the future of wolves in the West. The other reason it's important is because there's some data out there, it's not completely clear, some of it comes from Scandinavia, some of it comes from the US, is that public hunting increases social acceptance of wolves. You got a problem, you shoot the wolf right away. You don't have to call a government agent. And just going out hunting wolves makes you feel good. Reduces their density, maybe reduces the wolf population in areas where they cause problems. This makes people feel good. So hunting is part of having wolves in the landscape. But remember, our mission is preservation. And remember what I talked about our wolf viewing, we have a cottage industry that follows wolves around. And when wolves are sighted, there are people there within minutes. No other wildlife species has that kind of system in Yellowstone. Maybe elk and mammoth during the rut, but bears are viewed at a greater distance. Bison are tolerant in and out of the park wherever they occur, but wolves, elk spend half the year out, half the year in, because they're migratory, so they get bigger doses of humanity and have a little bit more knowledge of how to deal with it. And they're not pursued for sightings in the park like wolves are. You go in the backcountry, you see an elk, they'll respond to you. So a very important issue. And so the key issues we have are going from complete protection to less. The majority of the wolves shot north of the park are park wolves. Removal of collared wolves affects our research and management ability. And what level of harvest impacts the population growth rate is different than what affects pack dynamics, and probably less. So those are things we need to work out, and thus far have not completely. Other key issues is another mission for us is visitor enjoyment. And Yellowstone's a great one to do so. Connectivity. To keep wolves off the endangered species list, they have to be able to go back and forth through the 3 recovery areas. Another issue is that many people want elk instead of wolves. And that's both in and outside the park. People would rather see elk than wolves. And really, over the last 20 years, there have not been a significant number of livestock depredations in the Gardner Basin just north of the park. Or the other side of the park for that matter, because they're mostly wilderness. So, this essentially is the issue. And we shouldn't take this personally. These are boilerplate mandates for these different agencies. Ours is preservation, theirs is conservation. So automatically there's going to be some conflict. We got to work those things out. So last fall is the fall. I won't go through each hunting season, but this is the one that sparked the most controversy. These are the list of wolves that that live primarily in Yellowstone and are counted by us. Folks don't like us calling them park wolves because when they leave the park, they're not in the park anymore. But these are wolves that live primarily in the park. What do I mean by primarily? I'm ahead of myself here. This is where they were shot. This is actually all 3 hunting seasons. The red is 2012, the blue is 2011, the green, there was no hunting season in 2010 because wolves were relisted. The green is 2009. And a triangle is a wolf that uses the park but does not live primarily inside the park. So you can see that the biggest year was 2012, and they removed hunting removed 12% of our pre-hunt wolf population. In previous years, it was 1% and 3%. So working out what is the appropriate level of harvest for wolves that live primarily in the park is a difficult issue. And 2 of these wolves were shot distantly from the park. This is about 15 to 16 miles out. All the others were shot very close to the park. Not necessarily for those 2, but those are triangles. And I've been here since the reintroduction. We heard about this from a lot of people. More than I've ever heard previously. And primarily in the 95, 96, 97 era, we were hearing from